Negative thoughts. Sound familiar? I'm sure all of us have experienced that feeling before. Those quiet voices echoing in your head. I'm not good enough. I'm terrible. Or those moments when you keep replaying past mistakes over and over, like a tape stuck on repeat, impossible to stop. It comes quietly, like an uninvited guest, taking over your mental space and gradually draining your energy, joy, and confidence. At first, it seems harmless, just a fleeting moment of disappointment, a brief instant of self-blame when you make a mistake. But if you don't pay attention, it turns into a loop, a habit ingrained deep in your subconscious. Worse still, it starts to shape how you see yourself, how you view life and the world around you. You begin to see yourself as a victim, caught in the whirlpool of negativity, unsure how to break free. But hold on, what if I told you negative thoughts don't have to control you? Would you believe me? What if you could completely break that cycle? If you could reclaim control over your mind, not letting it be swept away by worries, doubts, and regrets. That's exactly what we'll explore together today, guided by the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the profound principles of Stoic philosophy. But don't get me wrong, this isn't a story about forcing yourself to be positive, and it's certainly not about pretending that hardships don't exist. This is a story about understanding how your mind works, learning how to master it, and turning your own thoughts into tools for growth, rather than barriers holding you back. Marcus Aurelius once said something deeply profound. You have power over your mind, not external events. When you truly internalize this, you'll realize how great your hidden power really is. Imagine, life is never without challenges, but while you can't control every situation that happens, you can always adjust how you perceive it and how you respond. Right there, within your own perception, is where true freedom lies. And that is also the core spirit of Stoic philosophy, not denying difficulties, but learning how to face them with calmness, clarity, and proactive strength. In this episode, I'll walk with you through practical strategies, not abstract theories, but specific actionable steps you can start applying today. We'll learn together how to shift perspectives, reframe challenges, and build habits that make you stronger, more resilient, and more clear-headed. Every small step you take will be a solid brick in building a better version of yourself. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by doubts, fears, or feelings of disappointment, don't go anywhere. Stay here with me, because this isn't just an empty conversation about positive thinking. This is the journey where you learn how to control your mind, align your thoughts with your core values, and from there, build a stronger, more focused version of yourself. A version that knows who you are, what you want, and won't let waves of negativity shake your heart. And now, let's step into the first lesson, one of the most important keys to mastering your mind, the power of perception. Have you ever wondered what truly makes you feel pain? Is it because something didn't go the way you wanted, or because of how you interpret it? Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. And the great thing is, you have the power to reclaim that perspective at any time." As we've just discussed, it's not what happens to you that matters, but how you think about it, Your perception is the lens through which you see the world. When that lens is clouded by negativity, everything around you becomes distorted, heavy. Even small challenges can turn into massive mountains, making you feel exhausted and stuck. Imagine this. One day, you receive criticism from a colleague about your work. Your first reaction might be to lower your head, sigh and think, "I'm so useless, I'll never succeed." But pause for a moment. Is that really true? Or is it just a story you've created in your own mind? If you shift your perspective and see that feedback as an opportunity to improve, to learn, what happens then? The actual event doesn't change, but your interpretation of it does. And with it, your emotional response becomes lighter, calmer. The problem is, negative perceptions like that tend to take root very quickly. Like weeds growing in a garden, if you don't pay attention, they spread, taking over the entire space in your mind. Over time, they don't just affect how you see yourself. They also distort your relationships, cloud your sense of joy, and limit your capacity for growth. If left unchecked, these perceptions become patterns, caging your potential and gradually eroding your peace of mind. So, how do you start to take control of your perception? The first step may sound simple, but it's absolutely crucial, and that is awareness. Pay attention to the thoughts that arise in your mind every time you face a challenge, criticism, or an unexpected situation. Ask yourself, is the story I'm telling myself helping me move forward, or is it holding me back? Often, you'll realize that it's the story you attach to the event, not the event itself, that causes you pain. The second step is to challenge those stories. When you notice you're caught in a negative spiral, pause. Ask yourself, is there another way to look at this situation? A perspective that makes you feel stronger rather than drained. This shift may seem small, but it creates a huge impact. Just a new perspective allows you to break free from the web of negative emotions pulling you down. Finally, let's practice reframing. When things don't go as planned, instead of focusing on the mistakes, ask yourself, what can I do in this situation? For example, you're stuck in traffic on the way to an important meeting. Instead of getting angry or frustrated by the delay, try thinking, I can use this time to listen to a podcast, learn something new, or simply take a deep breath and relax a bit. Changing your mindset won't make the traffic jam disappear, but it will calm your emotions and help you handle the situation better. Taking control of your perception doesn't mean denying reality or sugarcoating everything. It means choosing a perspective that serves your growth, rather than destroying you. Because you can't control everything that happens in life, but you can always control how you respond to it. Next time you find yourself in a situation that makes you feel frustrated or disappointed, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is the real problem the event itself, or is it my perception of it? That's the first step toward freeing yourself from the spiral of negativity, making your mind an ally rather than an enemy. As we mentioned earlier, it's not the event that determines your emotions, but how you perceive it. When your mental lens is clouded with negativity, even a small challenge can seem like a towering mountain that you can't possibly overcome. Marcus Aurelius once said, in a simple yet powerful statement, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What does this mean? It means that if you constantly let negative thoughts take over, they will gradually shape how you see life. If your mind is always filled with fear, failure, or self-doubt, then sooner or later, that will become your reality. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're about to give a presentation in front of a crowd. As soon as you stand up, a voice in your head whispers, "You're going to mess this up. Everyone is going to judge you." Sound familiar? The thing is, that voice doesn't come from the current reality, but often from past memories, maybe a time when you stuttered, were laughed at, or failed. And then your mind, like an old playback machine, rewinds that memory over and over, as a haunting reminder. But the truth is, those old experiences do not define who you are now, and they certainly don't determine who you'll become. Recognizing this is the first step to breaking the chains of negative thinking. So how do you untangle the roots of these thoughts? First, you need to start with awareness. Notice when those negative thoughts arise. Pause and ask yourself, where does this thought come from? Is it based on facts, or is it just an old story I've told myself over and over? Once you've identified the root of the problem, challenge it. If you're afraid of failing, remind yourself of the times you faced your fears and succeeded anyway. If your thoughts stem from self-doubt, ask yourself, do I have any real evidence to prove this thought is true? Most of the time you'll realize that these negative thoughts aren't built on facts, but rather on assumptions and fear. And finally, replace those old, toxic thoughts with intentional and empowering ones. This doesn't mean you have to blindly be optimistic, but rather that you choose thoughts that support your growth. Instead of saying, "I'll never be good enough," try saying, "I'm still learning and I'm making progress every step of the way." Imagine this process like cleaning out an old closet. At first, you feel overwhelmed, not knowing where to begin. You've been holding on to these patterns of negative thinking for so long that letting go feels almost impossible. But step by step, as you start sorting through, removing and rearranging, you'll feel lighter, freer, no longer bound by thoughts that no longer serve you. You know, negative thoughts may appear as a natural response, but they are not your destiny. They are just habits, and as habits, they can absolutely be changed. The more you uncover the roots of these thoughts and challenge their grip on you, the more you reclaim control over your mind. Remember this, negative thoughts do not define you. You have the power to break free from them. And when you let go, you'll find yourself stepping into a whole new version of yourself, clearer, stronger, more confident and resilient. So, the next time negative feelings quietly creep in, pause and remind yourself, this is not the real me. This is just an old story, and I'm ready to change it. Awareness is the first step to freedom. Refreshing your mind begins with understanding that you don't have to accept every thought that pops into your head. Just because a thought appears doesn't mean it's true, helpful, or worth your attention. Really, our minds aren't as reliable as we tend to believe. Marcus Aurelius once emphasized the power of this when he said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In other words, what you choose to focus on each day shapes your entire experience of life. Why is refreshing your mind so important? Because negative thoughts don't just make you feel bad in the moment. They quietly limit your potential. Imagine if every day you told yourself, I can't do this, or no matter how hard I try, I'll fail. What do you think will happen? Those beliefs, over time, become self-fulfilling prophecies. They hold you back, even making you afraid to try anything new. Refreshing your mind is about breaking down those barriers. It's about opening the door for yourself to grow and discover your true potential. So, how do you begin this process? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts throughout the day. When you make a mistake, what's your first reaction? Do you immediately jump into self-criticism, telling yourself, "I'm so bad at this," or "I always mess things up"? Pause for a moment. Noticing those moments is the foundation for change. Once you're aware, the next step is to challenge those negative thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? Do I have any evidence to support what I'm thinking? Or am I just imagining the worst-case scenario? Trust me, most of the time you'll realize these negative thoughts come from fear, not from truth. After you've challenged those thoughts, replace them with constructive, realistic ones. For example, instead of saying, "I can't do this," try saying, "I'm learning, and every step I take brings me closer to success." An incredibly powerful tool to help you refresh your mind is reframing. Reframing means shifting your perspective to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. Imagine this. You've just been rejected for a project you poured your heart into. Your initial reaction might be disappointment, the thought, "Maybe I'm not good enough." But try shifting your perspective. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," think, "This is an opportunity for me to review my approach, learn, and come back stronger." You see, the event doesn't change, but how you perceive it and what you do next completely transforms. Reframing doesn't erase challenges, but it changes how you face them. It helps you feel lighter, more proactive, and most importantly, not overwhelmed by negative emotions. Another simple but powerful practice is gratitude. When you cultivate gratitude, you gradually shift your focus from what's wrong to what's going well, even if it's the smallest things. For example, on a beautiful morning, you can feel grateful for the warmth of a cup of coffee in your hands, a joyful conversation with a friend, or simply the fact that you can breathe and start a new day. Gratitude is like a magnifying glass, helping you see more clearly the good around you, even when life feels chaotic. Practicing gratitude regularly is like reprogramming your brain. It teaches your mind to notice rays of hope rather than fixate on the darkness. Have you ever heard the saying, "See the glass as half full rather than half empty"? Gratitude is the key to doing just that. So, if you want to refresh your mind, start today. Recognize and challenge negative thoughts, replace them with empowering beliefs, and practice gratitude to focus on the good, no matter how small. Lesson 4. Surround yourself with positivity. The environment you live and work in every day isn't just a backdrop. It's a mirror of your spirit, the emotional space where your thoughts, feelings, and energy are shaped and spread. Think about it. When you're around people who encourage, love, and believe in you, how do you feel? Light, supported, and as if every challenge becomes a bit easier to handle. On the other hand, if you're constantly exposed to criticism, in relationships that make you feel small and drained, no matter how hard you try to think positively, your mind will gradually grow heavy and dark. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Decide, happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And that's true. But what he didn't forget to mention is this: those thoughts don't exist in a vacuum. They are nourished by what you hear, see, and interact with every day. And so, if you want to maintain positivity in your thinking, you must also take the initiative to create an environment that supports it. Where to begin? Start by taking a closer look at the people around you. Do they encourage, understand, and support you? Or do they regularly plant seeds of doubt, discouragement, and criticism in your mind? This isn't about blaming anyone. It's a gentle reminder for you to become more aware of how relationships impact your mental and emotional well-being. Sometimes, simply spending less time with those who drain you and more time with those who inspire you can make a noticeable difference. For example, if you have a friend who constantly complains, leaving you feeling heavy after every conversation, try to limit the time you spend with them. At the same time, invest more in positive relationships, people who celebrate your successes, challenge you to grow, and see your value even when you forget it yourself. But it's not just the people. Your physical environment also plays a crucial role. A messy room, a desk piled high with papers and tangled cords. These things silently add to your stress and make it harder to focus. Meanwhile, a clean, organized, and thoughtfully arranged space gives you a sense of calm and clarity. Take a moment to observe the spaces where you spend the most time each day. Your home, your workspace, even your digital environment, are they helping you move forward, or are they holding you back? Sometimes a simple action like tidying up your desk, adding a small plant, or turning off notifications from negative accounts can make a big difference in how you feel each day. And there's one more thing we can't overlook: what you feed your mind. The content you read, the videos you watch, the podcasts you listen to, these are all mental nourishment. If you constantly consume negative information, arguments, or compare yourself to idealized images on social media, you'll find your heart growing increasingly restless. But if you choose to absorb messages that inspire, educate, or simply bring you peace, you'll gradually build a healthier and stronger inner world. For example, if you have the habit of scrolling through social media every morning and getting caught up in comparing your life to others, try to switch things up. Follow positive accounts, those that motivate you or share knowledge that helps you grow. Then you'll see the change from within happening naturally. Finally, remember this: creating a positive environment doesn't mean avoiding negativity altogether. Life is never all sunshine and rainbows. But you can choose to proactively increase the things that nourish you and reduce the things that hold you back to build a healthy and resilient mental ecosystem. Think of your living environment like a garden. You can't control the weather completely, but you can absolutely choose what plants you grow, how you care for them, and how you adjust things little by little to help the garden thrive. Remember, your mind is like a container, and you're constantly filling it with what you hear, see, and read every day. The books you read, the movies you watch, the podcasts you listen to. All of these quietly shape the way you think, feel, and respond to the world around you. If you constantly fill your mind with fear, conflict, and negativity, Don't be surprised when one day you find your heart weighed down, your confidence eroded, and the world seeming darker than before. On the other hand, if you choose content that inspires, educates, or brings you joy, you are intentionally planting seeds of positivity in your mind. Fill your mental space with stories of resilience, ideas that spark deep reflection, and messages that reinforce the mindset you want to build. Because what you allow yourself to dwell on becomes the mirror that reflects your life. Here's a real-life example. Imagine you've spent a long evening scrolling through social media, constantly comparing your life to others. They always seem so happy, successful, and fulfilled, while you feel inadequate, like a failure. That feeling sound familiar? Instead of letting yourself spiral deeper into that negative loop, pause. Try unfollowing the accounts that make you feel bad about yourself, and instead follow people who inspire you, pages that share knowledge you love, or content that helps you grow. Over time, you'll notice a clear difference. Every time you open the app, instead of feeling weighed down, you'll feel lighter, more optimistic, and filled with positive energy. Creating a positive environment doesn't mean you have to avoid all negativity in life. Life is inherently imperfect, and challenges will always be part of the journey. But what you can do is proactively strengthen the factors that support your growth. Think of it like tending to a garden. You can't control when storms will come, but you can choose the soil, the seeds, and how you nurture that garden every day. Cultivate healthy relationships, create spaces that inspire, and consume information that nourishes your spirit. When you do that, you're building a strong foundation for growth, no matter what challenges life throws your way. The next time you feel overwhelmed by negativity, pause and ask yourself, is my current environment helping me or harming me? Then, take action, even a small step, to shift it in a more positive direction. That could mean spending time with someone who inspires you, tidying up your workspace, or simply turning off a negative source of information. Every small step matters. Remember, surrounding yourself with positivity isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It's a crucial foundation for building a stronger, healthier mind each day. Picture this. If you're feeling anxious about an upcoming exam, instead of sitting there letting fear take over, start preparing. Create a study plan. Review each section and work through practice questions. By taking action, even small ones, you shift from being a passive observer to an active driver of your life. Action is also a powerful motivator. Imagine standing at the foot of a towering hill. Looking up, you feel overwhelmed, unsure how you'll ever make it to the top. But as soon as you take that first step, even a small one, the hill doesn't seem so daunting anymore. Every step, no matter how slow, builds your confidence that you can keep going, that you are moving forward. Here's a real-life example. Let's say you've been putting off an important project because you're afraid it won't be perfect. You procrastinate, waiting for the right time to start, and days turn into weeks, with the project still sitting untouched. Instead of waiting until you feel 100% ready, break the project down into small, manageable steps. Start by writing one sentence, outlining a few ideas, or simply setting a timer and working for 10 minutes. These small actions don't just move you forward, They also quiet that negative voice in your head that keeps telling you you're not good enough or capable enough. Another important part of taking action in the Stoic sense is ensuring your actions align with your core values. Ask yourself, what truly matters most to me? Do my daily actions reflect those priorities? When your actions come from purpose, not fear, you'll find yourself becoming more resilient, more confident, and less likely to get swept up in negative cycles. For example, if kindness is one of your core values, make it an action. When you're feeling self-doubt or stuck in negative thoughts, do something kind, help someone, listen to their story, or send an encouraging message. You'll be surprised to find that even a small act of kindness for someone else can become a powerful medicine for your own healing. But remember, action doesn't mean you'll eliminate all obstacles or avoid every mistake. Instead, action means continuing to move forward even when things aren't perfect, even when you feel afraid or uncertain. The Stoics believed that challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities to grow stronger. Every time you take action to confront negative thoughts, you are proving to yourself that you can overcome them. Think of action as lighting a candle in a dark room. The darkness is still there, but the light from the candle helps you see the path ahead, and with each step forward, that light spreads further, slowly dissolving the shadows of doubt and fear. So next time you feel overwhelmed by negative thoughts, don't sit still and let them take over. Ask yourself one important question. What small step can I take right now to move forward? Then do it. Whether it's sending an email, writing a line of a plan, starting a workout, or simply getting out of bed and tidying your desk, every small action holds power. Because ultimately, it's not what you think that shapes your life, but what you do. And every action is a step that lifts you out of the negative spiral and toward a life that's fuller, more meaningful, and stronger. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, what you think about determines the quality of your mind. But it doesn't stop there. It's also about how you express those thoughts outwardly. Words are not just a way to communicate feelings. They are powerful tools to transform your reality. By paying attention to the words you speak, both to yourself and to others, you hold the key to breaking free from negativity and building a mindset that supports your goals. Let's start with the part that's often overlooked, your inner dialogue, the silent, constant stream of thoughts running through your mind. When something doesn't go your way, what do you say to yourself? Are they the familiar lines like, "I'm such a failure," or "I'll never get this right"? These words may seem small, but over time, they accumulate and paint a negative picture of yourself without you even realizing it. And once that image is deeply embedded, it becomes incredibly difficult to change. So instead of letting those negative lines play on repeat, try to change the way you talk to yourself. For example, when you make a mistake, don't rush to label yourself as, "I'm so bad at this." Instead, gently remind yourself, "I'm learning, and mistakes are part of the process." It may sound simple, but this small shift helps you feel lighter and keeps your focus on growth, not judgment. Now, let's look beyond ourselves. Think about the words you use when you talk to others. Do you often complain, criticize, or focus on what's wrong? If so, pay attention. The atmosphere around you becomes heavier, and both you and the people you're with feel dragged down by those words. On the other hand, when you speak with kindness, gratitude, or a sense of optimism, you not only lift your own spirits, but also spread positive energy to those around you. For example, instead of saying, "I'm so stressed out, I'll never get this done," try saying, "This is a challenge, but I'm making progress little by little." It may sound subtle, but this shift has a profound impact on your mindset. Imagine coming home after a long, exhausting day at work, and your first reaction is to unload everything that went wrong. "Today was awful. Everything went terribly." Acknowledging your emotions is important, but if you dwell in negative language, you're only making your own mood worse. Instead, try saying, "Today was tough, but at least it showed me where I can improve." This shift isn't about denying reality, but about reframing it in a way that encourages resilience rather than sinking you into a sense of failure. Another powerful way to harness the power of words is through affirmations. Affirmations are intentional, positive statements you repeat to reprogram your mind. For instance, if you're struggling with self-doubt, try repeating phrases like, "I am capable and strong," or "I am worthy of success." At first, these statements may feel forced, but over time, they become familiar and real, because they help you focus on what you want to believe about yourself, instead of letting fear dictate your narrative. Additionally, you can try a simple yet effective practice: a gratitude journal. Every day before you go to bed, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Sometimes it's just a delicious cup of coffee in the morning, a warm smile from a loved one, or a peaceful moment watching the sunset. By focusing on the positive, you're training your brain to pay more attention to the good in life, and in doing so, you gradually blur the old patterns of negativity that have taken root over time. Remember, words are not just a way to speak. They are seeds you plant in the soil of your mind every day, and the seeds you water and nurture will determine which plants bloom. So next time you catch yourself saying something negative to yourself, pause and ask, "What else could I say to support myself?" Because sometimes just one different sentence can make a world of difference. You have control over this. The next time you catch yourself saying or thinking something negative, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, "Are these words helping me, or are they hurting me?" Then choose a different story, a positive story, a supportive story, a story aligned with the person you are striving to become, because you are the one who decides which seeds get planted. And when you choose your words wisely, you are not only shaping your thoughts, you are shaping your entire life. That is a power truly worth using with intention. And now, having recognized the power of words, let's move on to an incredibly important part: nurturing emotional resilience. Remember, life is always full of surprises. No matter how carefully you plan, there will be difficult days, unexpected challenges that come without warning. The question isn't whether you'll face difficulties. You definitely will. The real question is, how will you respond when they happen? Emotional resilience is the ability to recover, adapt, and even grow stronger after adversity. And it is one of the most powerful tools you can have to overcome negative thinking. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not external events." When you truly understand this, you will discover a tremendous source of strength within yourself. But resilience isn't about trying to avoid pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about choosing how you respond, even when everything around you feels overwhelming. It's about keeping your mind steady, no matter how chaotic the external world may be. So what does emotional resilience look like in practice? It starts by accepting that some things are beyond your control. The more you resist this truth, the more energy you waste, and the more disappointment you feel. Resilience is about deciding to shift that energy into what you can control: your thoughts, actions, and attitude. Picture this. You've spent months working on a project, but at the last minute, something unexpected happens. Instead of sitting there blaming, criticizing, or sinking into self-pity, a resilient mindset asks, "What's the next best step I can take?" This simple shift from focusing on the problem to seeking a solution is at the heart of emotional resilience. Another key element of resilience is learning to reframe failure. Instead of seeing failure as the end, see it as a lesson, a stepping stone that makes you stronger. For example, say you didn't get the promotion you were hoping for. It's perfectly natural to feel disappointed. But instead of letting that emotion control you, ask, what did I learn from this experience? How can I use it to come back stronger? Every challenge you face is an opportunity to practice resilience. And in that journey, don't forget that self-compassion is an essential part. When you are too harsh, too self-critical, you make it even harder to bounce back. Think about it this way. If a friend was feeling down, what would you say? You certainly wouldn't say, "You're a failure, you're no good." Right? You'd remind them of their strengths. Encourage them to keep going. So you deserve that same kindness from yourself. Allow yourself to feel your emotions: sadness, disappointment, exhaustion, without judgment. And then gently remind yourself, facing challenges is part of being human, and you are learning how to grow stronger every day. Building resilience isn't something you achieve overnight, but it can absolutely be cultivated through small, consistent habits. One simple yet incredibly powerful tool is mindfulness. When you stay in the present moment, you can respond to difficult situations with awareness, rather than reacting impulsively or hastily. For example, when you feel anger or frustration rising, instead of letting it sweep you away, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs, then slowly exhale. This moment of mindfulness acts like a gentle break, allowing you to pause and choose your response, rather than being completely led by emotion. Alongside mindfulness, gratitude is also an essential foundation of resilience. When life feels overwhelming, when challenges close in, returning to what you are grateful for can help balance your mind and ease the weight of negative thoughts. There's always something to appreciate, whether it's a friend who supports you, a quiet moment in the morning, or simply the fact that you woke up and have the chance to face a new day. Think of resilience as the image of a tree in a storm. The strong winds may bend its branches and shake its leaves, but it's the deep roots anchored in the earth that keep the tree standing tall. And when you cultivate resilience within yourself, you become like that tree, strong, flexible, and capable of withstanding life's challenges without breaking. Next time you face adversity, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is hard, but I have the strength to get through it. Because with every challenge you overcome, you are not just surviving, you are growing. Emotional resilience is not just a skill. It's a mindset, a way of approaching life's ups and downs with courage and clarity. And as you practice it, you'll find that negative thoughts gradually lose their power, making space for confidence and self-belief to take root. Now, let's move on to another powerful tool, gratitude, and explore how to practice it as a mindset shift. Gratitude is truly one of the simplest yet most effective ways to counter negativity. When life feels overwhelming, when things seem unfair, it's easy to focus on what's missing, what's imperfect, or what should have been better. But gratitude helps you pause and see the good that already exists around you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do not indulge in dreams of what you lack, but instead reflect on the greatest blessings you do possess, and remind yourself how much you would long for them if they were not yours." This wisdom reminds us of an important truth. Much of our unhappiness comes from taking what we have for granted while chasing after what we don't. So, what does practicing gratitude look like in daily life? It's not about ignoring hardships or pretending everything is perfect. Gratitude means seeking moments to appreciate, even in the midst of challenges. For example, on a stressful work day, instead of letting frustration and fatigue take over, pause and appreciate a kind co-worker who helped you, or a chance to learn something new, even from a tough task. Remember, gratitude doesn't have to be reserved for big things. Sometimes it's as simple as being thankful for a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a smile you received, or the pleasant feeling of sunlight on your face. These small moments, when noticed and acknowledged, become anchors that help you through tough days. And more importantly, they nurture a positive, present-focused attitude toward life. The power of gratitude lies in its ability to shift your focus. When you actively seek things to be grateful for, you train your mind to notice the positives rather than fixate on what's lacking. Over time, this becomes not just a habit, but a true rewiring of your brain, helping you develop a more optimistic and balanced perspective by default. So, how do you begin? A highly practical and effective method is to keep a gratitude journal. Each day, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you are grateful for. And remember, they don't have to be big or profound. Sometimes it's the warmth of your morning coffee, a smile from a stranger, or simply the fact that you made it through a challenging moment. These small things matter just as much as anything else. Writing them down not only helps you reflect, but also creates a positive collection you can return to when you feel caught up in negative cycles. Another way to cultivate gratitude is to express it to others. Sometimes a simple thank you is enough to brighten someone's day and your own. Take a moment to thank a friend, a family member, or even a colleague. It could be as simple as saying, "I really appreciate you helping me complete that task," or "Your advice truly made a difference." Expressing gratitude not only strengthens relationships, but also spreads positive energy to both you and those around you. Let's imagine a specific example. Picture yourself stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. frustration and stress rise, and it's easy to slip into a state of irritation. But instead of letting that emotion control you, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this moment? Maybe you're grateful for the extra time to listen to your favorite podcast, or for being safely seated in your car, unharmed. These small moments won't change the traffic, but they will change how you feel about it. And that's what truly matters. Gratitude also helps you put your challenges into a broader perspective. When facing failure, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Is there something I can appreciate in this experience, even if it's just the strength I'm building by getting through it? By seeking even the smallest glimmers of light, you reduce the power of negativity and open space for growth. Think of gratitude like a small lantern in a dark room. It can't erase the darkness entirely, but it shines just enough to help you see the path ahead. And the more you practice gratitude, the stronger that light becomes, guiding you through life's challenges with clarity and peace. So, the next time you find yourself stuck in a loop of negative thoughts, pause and ask, what can I be grateful for right now? Because even in the toughest moments, there's always something to appreciate no matter how small. Remember, gratitude isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a practice, a choice, and a powerful tool to reshape your mindset. By focusing on the good, you create space for more positivity, more resilience, and more joy in your life. And that is truly a shift worth making. Here's the good news. Embracing this truth can free you from much unnecessary worry and pain. The idea of impermanence isn't new. It's been echoed by countless thinkers and philosophers over the centuries. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "All things pass. What we do in life, how we respond, and the choices we make, that's what belongs to us." Accepting impermanence doesn't mean giving up or surrendering in defeat. It means understanding that change is an inevitable part of life and learning to navigate it with grace. Think about it. How many times have you clung to the past, wishing things could stay the same? Or worried about the future, imagining all the worst-case scenarios of what might be lost? It's that attachment to what was or what could be that traps you in a cycle of anxiety and negativity. By embracing impermanence, you free yourself to truly live in the present. Imagine a blooming flower. It's beautiful, but you know that beauty will fade in time. Instead of lamenting or wishing it could last forever, you learn to appreciate it for what it is right now. Life is the same. The joys, the sorrows, the challenges, the people you meet along the way, all of it is temporary. And that's what makes it so precious. Embracing impermanence can completely transform your mindset. When something difficult happens, instead of letting it overwhelm you, remind yourself, this too shall pass. The pain, disappointment, or obstacles you're facing, none of it is permanent. Just as joy will fade over time, challenges will also recede. This perspective can bring you peace even in the midst of the storm, because you know that everything is temporary. Let's consider a real-life example. Imagine you've just had an argument with your best friend. The feelings of hurt, tension, and even loss can crash over you and weigh you down. But when you embrace impermanence, you remind yourself that this moment will not last forever. Relationships change, Emotions change, and with time, healing is possible, whether through reconciliation or by each person moving forward on their own path. Another way to practice this mindset is by focusing on gratitude for the present moment. Instead of fearing what you might lose, appreciate what you have right now. For example, when you're sitting with your family, laughing and sharing a warm meal, don't let your mind wander into worries or regrets. Savor the moment fully, because knowing it won't last forever is exactly what makes it so meaningful. Embracing impermanence also helps you let go of perfectionism. When you understand that nothing lasts forever, you realize that mistakes, failures, and even success are just fleeting moments along life's journey. This realization brings you freedom, the freedom to try, to fail, and to get back up and try again, without being weighed down by the fear of the outcome. Think of impermanence like a flowing river. The water is never the same from one moment to the next. If you try to grasp it, it slips through your fingers. But if you let it flow, you can enjoy its beauty and learn to adapt to its current. Life is the same, constantly changing, constantly moving. The next time you find yourself trapped in negative thoughts, whether it's regret over the past or anxiety about the future, pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself, everything changes. This moment is only temporary. By embracing impermanence, you create space for peace, acceptance, and growth. Instead of fighting the current of life, you learn to flow with it, to find strength, flexibility, and adaptability. It's the continuous evolution of life that makes it so beautiful. Often, beneath negative thinking lies a sense of aimlessness. When you lack a clear sense of purpose, it's easy to feel lost, unmotivated, or overwhelmed by challenges. Purpose is like a compass. It guides your thoughts, actions, and decisions. It doesn't just give your life meaning. It's also a source of strength that helps you navigate tough times, keeping you from drifting aimlessly in the storms of life. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, "Those who work hard all their lives but have no purpose to guide their thoughts and actions are essentially wasting their time, even if they appear busy." A sobering insight. It reminds us that busyness alone is not enough. Chasing external goals is not enough. Without a deeper sense of purpose, even when you achieve success, you can still feel empty. Purpose isn't just about what you achieve. It's about aligning your actions with your core values and what truly matters to you. So, how can you discover and build a life of purpose? Start by asking yourself deep questions like, what gives me a sense of fulfillment? What kind of impact do I want to make on others, my community, the world? What aligns with my core values and strengths? Purpose doesn't have to be something grand or world-changing. It can be as simple as being a good listener, creating meaningful art, or simply learning and growing every day. What's important is that it resonates with you and gives your life a sense of clear direction. Having a sense of purpose doesn't mean life will be free of challenges. In fact, purpose often means facing difficulties head-on. But when you're anchored in your purpose, challenges aren't just obstacles. They become stepping stones to help you rise higher. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you'll find yourself asking, "What can I learn from this experience?" For example, say you're working towards building a business, pursuing a creative passion, or improving your physical health. Along the way, there will undoubtedly be days when you feel doubtful or tempted to quit. But if you stay clear on your why, whether it's to provide for your family, express yourself, or feel stronger and more confident than even when challenges arise, you'll find the motivation to keep going. Purpose also helps you eliminate distractions. When you're clear about your values and priorities, it becomes easier to say no to things that don't serve you. For example, if your purpose is to nurture meaningful relationships, you'll naturally spend less time on social media and more time in genuine conversations. If your purpose is to grow as a person, you'll prioritize learning, reading, and self-reflection over fleeting distractions. One of the most powerful aspects of living with purpose is how it transforms your relationship with negativity. When you encounter failure, instead of letting it overwhelm you, you see it as part of the journey. For instance, if you miss a workout in your fitness plan, instead of saying, "I'm so bad at this, I can't stick to anything," you gently remind yourself, "This is just a small setback. I'll get back on track tomorrow." A single misstep doesn't define the whole picture. Purpose gives you the perspective to keep moving forward. Imagine purpose as a lighthouse in the stormy sea of life. It doesn't make the storm disappear, but it provides a steady light to guide you, no matter how rough the waves. And even when negativity threatens to cloud your vision, your purpose is still there, shining through the fog, reminding you of what truly matters. The answers lie in small things, the simple habits you can practice every day. Start by taking time to reflect on your core values. What really matters to you? Who do you want to become? From there, set meaningful goals, not just things you want to achieve, but also the kind of person you want to be in the process. Then, adjust your daily actions to align with that bigger vision. Remember, purpose is not a specific destination. It's not a place you reach and say, "I've made it." Purpose is a practice, a path you walk each day, step by step, no matter how small. It evolves with you, and that's what makes it truly beautiful and meaningful. The next time you feel overwhelmed by negative thoughts or uncertain about your path, pause and ask yourself, what truly matters to me? How can I adjust my actions today to move closer to that? Simply by focusing on purpose, you'll notice the noise of doubt and fear begin to quiet down. You'll start building a life that's meaningful, unique, and truly your own. And along that journey, you'll discover clarity, peace, and the strength to overcome any challenge that comes your way. As we've explored together today, negative thinking doesn't have to define you. It's not an inevitable, unchangeable part of life. Negative thoughts are simply a habit, a pattern you can absolutely shift. By becoming aware of how you perceive situations, identifying the roots of negativity, and applying practical strategies, from practicing gratitude, cultivating resilience, to taking action rooted in purpose, you can transform the way you think and reclaim peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not external events." When you truly absorb this, you'll discover an immense inner strength. It's the light that guides you in your darkest moments, the reminder that no matter how big the challenge, you always have the power to choose your response. You can break free from the cycle of negativity and build a life grounded in clarity, purpose, and growth. So, as you move forward, I invite you to take a moment and reflect. What from this episode resonated with you the most? What small shift can you apply today? Maybe it's pausing to reframe a negative thought, practicing daily gratitude, or simply setting a boundary to protect your energy. No matter how small the step, remember, every step matters. The journey to mastering your mind isn't about perfection. It's about progress, about the willingness to keep going day by day. If this episode has inspired you or offered a new perspective, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, a loved one, or anyone you think could be empowered by what we've discussed today. Let's spread the power of breaking free from negativity and building stronger, more resilient minds together. And if you've stayed with me until this very moment, I'd truly love to hear from you. What was the most important lesson or message you're taking away from this episode? Share it in the comments below. I'm always here to listen. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And remember, the power to change your thoughts and your life has always been within you. Until next time, stay mindful, live with purpose, and keep working to become the best version of yourself. You've got this.